Welcome to MattyRocks Experience and On the Road with MattyRocks on location at NAMM 2015, day number 2, joined with special guest, Yasi Hofer. Thanks for joining me, Yasi.
Thanks for having me here, Matt.
I'm glad we finally got to the opportunity to do this.
Me too. It's really cool.
So NAMM 2015, what brings you to this great industry event?
Well, first of all, I'm now working with the Sir company, the Sir Guitar. So that was one reason to come here, to meet all the people. And then it's just like, it's so exciting. Everything's here. Everyone's here. I'm meeting my friends from Berkeley. It's really cool.
Very nice. Yasi, if you would, catch us up on some of the events or the highlights that took place for you in 2014 before we closed out the year.
Well, the first highlight was the release of my first CD, just called Yasi. And yeah, that was really, really exciting. I've been working on that for 2 years, and having it just out there was just so great. And then I had my first big concert back home in my hometown, and I had 600 people coming to the show. And that was like, I couldn't even believe it. So it was the first night performing with my own band, my own music, and then having like so many people come to it. So that was the best. And then we played a lot of big shows, big venues. And I was like, the whole band was not used to it. Like we were just used to being in like small clubs. And that was just all amazing the whole year.
Very nice. A lot of great events for you.
Yes.
Yasi, if you would, take MattyRocks listeners back to the early years of your life in Ulm, Germany, and give us some insight to how music and guitar playing came into your life.
Okay. Well, I started playing violin. I think I was like 6 or something, and I didn't like it, and I was not good at it. I was really, really bad. And I played for like 5 years. And I always wanted to play the guitar because I always was the girl, like not too girly. I was playing soccer, I was doing boxing, and I was like, I needed a cool instrument. And then I heard Eye of the Tiger on the radio, and I was like, okay, now I need to pick up the guitar. And I was 12 then, and I had a great guitar teacher for 2 years when I started out, and he introduced me to Steve Vai. And then like the first thing I saw was the Astoria DVD, and that hit me. From that day on, it like my whole life changed, and I started practicing for 10 hours and more every day.
If your music teacher would have never introduced you to Steve Vai's music, do you think you would be where you are today, musically?
If someone else would have introduced me, but then it depends on what time at, because if I would have been 15, it's like it would have been a whole different thing.
So talk about some of your experiences in knowing that Steve Vai, one of your great influences, watched you on YouTube and watched you grow musically.
Well, that was really cool because like I didn't know if he even was going to respond. Then he sent me these emails and he like gave me tips on like what to work on and stuff. That was so good, and he liked that I was like, he saw like my progress and that I was really passionate about the whole thing. So that's probably why he like gave me the chance to play with him and all that stuff, because he kind of saw that I was really into it.
How did the opportunity come to be for you to play with Steve in your hometown?
That was funny. Like I wrote him on an email that he was coming to my hometown in Ulm, and that I was like looking forward to seeing him play there. And then I got an email from Steve saying and asking if I wanted to come up on stage and play one song with him. And I thought that was like, I thought someone was hacking his account. And I got back to his manager and I was like, is this really Steve asking me to play with him? And he said yes. And then it was like he told me to learn Ansa's song. And I got 4 weeks. And I was freaking out because back at that time, like it took me a month to learn a Steve Vai song, and I only had a few weeks. Then I like sat on my ass and I did it. And then the night came and that was like, I don't even remember anything of it.
Hard work pays off, doesn't it?
It does. It really, really does. Always.
Describe that experience playing with Steve Vai on stage, because I watched the video.
Yeah, as said, like I don't really remember. I remember being there at soundcheck and he wanted me to go up on stage and play for him. And so I was like, even just being in front of Steve, I got so nervous back then. And I picked up my guitar and I was like, my hands were shaking and I tried to play the song and he was just smiling. He was really cool. So I kind of relaxed. And then at the time of the show, I was up there and it was time for me to go out. And I go out and then I don't know anything. Like seriously.
And it went blank?
It went totally blank. The 5 minutes I played with him, it went blank, and then So I can't tell about the moment I was up there. It was too much, and it was the first time for me being on stage at all, playing for people, and it was 1,500 people. So the whole thing, it was just too much.
How many times have you gotten to play with Steve since then?
I think it's been 4 or 5 times in general now. It's always good, it's always fun. I'm learning every time I'm up with Steve. It's just jamming, and I can pick up so much.
Do you still keep in touch with Steve today?
Yes, I do. Not too much because I know he's busy, but we'll keep in touch, and yeah.
Throughout all those great experiences that happened to you, you had a local record company or producers that gave you the opportunity to make your own EP. How was that experience?
Well, it was a little weird because he kind of acted like he was a big company, and I didn't know anything, but the good thing was like I had the opportunity to do a little CD, and before, like, otherwise I wouldn't have thought about it, and I would have needed help anyway, so it was good. It was good that I could do it.
Very nice. You quit school at such an early age. How was that perceived by your parents at that time?
Really, really good, because they knew that I was playing guitar the whole day, and they knew that if I would drop out of school, I wouldn't be sitting around watching TV. Like, I got up at 5 in the morning, and I would start playing guitar, and I wouldn't stop the whole day. So for them, it was like, they knew that I wouldn't do anything else. So it was really, really cool. We decided the whole thing within 1 week. It was like, I want to drop out, and yeah.
It's great to have a support system like that, isn't it?
Yeah, my parents are great. They're like the best support I could wish for.
How did the opportunity come to be for you to study at, now I don't want to butcher this, so I'm going to read it, okay? Musikhochschule Stuttgart?
Yes, Musikhochschule Stuttgart. Well, that was like one of the teachers there. He kind of knew what I was doing, and he wanted me to come out and like play for him and see what I can do. And then he asked me if I wanted to come to the Hochschule and study there. So since I didn't go to school anymore, I thought, well, it's a good opportunity, because normally if you don't have a school diploma, like you're not even allowed to go to a Hochschule and study. So he made it work, and I went there for like 1.5 years. And it was good. It was a little weird because most of the people were like 25 up, and I was 16, and I knew a lot of stuff, and so it didn't really fit. So I was glad that I could go to Berkeley after that.
Describe the journey from Germany to Berkeley School of Music, and what was that like for you?
It was crazy. I mean, the whole thing, like, first of all, moving to Stuttgart by myself was the first time, being 16. And then, like, 1.5 years later, moving to Boston, and I didn't know anyone and nothing, and it was quite intense, but I loved it. I loved it.
Describe what it's like to go back and play for your hometown of Ulm whenever you get the opportunity.
Well, it's always different, and people go more crazy every time I go there and play. Like, we did a show in summer, and it was like a big open air, and there were other bands playing too. The moment I hit the stage, like, it was full of photographers, and everyone was going crazy, and it's weird, but it's nice. Like, it's great to have local support.
Do they consider you a star coming home?
The people that go there, yes. Not everyone, but the people that know me, I think a little bit, maybe, yeah.
Throughout your career so far, and what you've done musically, what do you think is your biggest musical accomplishment?
Finishing the CD. Because it's like, if I listen back to it now, I sometimes, like, I don't even get how I did it. Like, how did I write the songs? I don't know. And I'm like, that's my baby. I'm really proud of that. And that's the best I've done so far. Well, it comes a lot of times. Like, if I have a great show and people come up, and like, especially if people tell me, like, do exactly what you do right now. Continue doing that, because I have a lot of people of the industry coming to me and tell me, like, you can be a big star, but you have to do other music. You have to do stuff that's going to be played on the radio and that makes you famous. And so that's like exactly what I don't want to have. And then if I have people coming up to me and say, do exactly what you do now, and I have people telling me like that it was one of the greatest night in their life being at one of my shows, and that's just like, that's because I don't get how that happens, because I just do my thing, and it really touches people and it really reaches them. So that's really, really special. And then getting like compliment from Steve Vai, forget that. It's really
defining moment.
Yes.
Talk about your band back home and who they are and what do they bring to the stage for you.
Well, so like even finding the band was really funny, and I think I got really lucky because like I knew someone actually recommended me the drummer, Martin Clay, and he's like that crazy guy, like he's full of energy and just, yeah. And I didn't know him, so we made an appointment to go to the studio, and he just started playing in my mouth, like I couldn't believe it. It was perfect. I couldn't have found a better drummer for the kind of music that I do. And I just told him, you have to be in my band. And he loves it too, because like as a drummer, he's got so much freedom and he can really go crazy with the music. And that's what drummers love too. So for him, it's perfect. Then like the bass player, I just knew him from other projects. And the guitar player, Philip, it's actually funny. I just know him from Steve Vai concerts. We always get to talk, and I've never heard him play, but I just thought because he's kind of like really cool and not too crazy. He's like really, how do you say, I don't know. So I was like, okay, I need to have you in my band. And he said like he was kind of scared because he didn't know what was going to happen, and he didn't know if it was going to be good enough. So it was like all these people coming to the first rehearsal. Nobody knew anyone yet. And we started playing, and it was so cool. It was really good. And like 2 of them are professionals, so they live from it. And the keyboarder is like kind of living from it, and the guitar player is just like finished his studies. And he's a big Steve Vai fan, so it all fits, and they're cool guys.
Fun.
It's important like to not just fit musically, also like the person.
And you all sound so great together.
Thank you. Yeah. I said like I'm lucky. It totally fits. Worked out really good.
I see that you're a dog lover, and I see that you have the opportunity where you go out and rescue dogs. How did this come to be for you, this passion?
Well, I grew up with my dog Wendy. She passed away 2 years ago, and I think I learned a lot from just growing up with her. Like in general, like respect and like taking care of someone or something. And then like I started walking dogs at the animal shelter, the local animal shelter, and then that's where I found my dog Anya, and she's a pit bull. So I started walking her, and it was my big dream. Like I wanted to have her, and it was really difficult because where we live, it's hard to keep a dog like that, and I was too young. So I just like somehow I make things work, and then I got to adopt her, and she is like the greatest thing ever in my life. And so I got more active, and I started becoming a vegan. So I'm not just a dog lover. It's like all animals. I have a lot of respect for them, and I just wanted to help. So I started spending money and donating, and then time after time, yeah. And now I found that team that I'm working with, and we're going to Bosnia, and we're feeding the dogs there. We're helping the people too that live there because they're like still living in war. It's crazy. It's a whole different world. Then we bring dogs to Germany. It's just awesome. It's like I love it just as much as music. Like saving dogs, it's my passion too.
Right on. Is there anything you'd like to add to this interview that maybe we forgot to talk about?
I don't think so. You got it all. Yeah.
What does the future hold for Yasi Hofer?
Well, maybe just continue what I do now and become more well-known and hopefully to the whole world.
Where can fans keep up with everything that you've got going on musically?
Well, on my webpage, yasihofer.com, and then Facebook, of course, and YouTube. Yeah, people will know it's going to happen.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to send a message to MattyRocks listeners all around the United States and around the world who are going to potentially hear and see this interview. What would you like to say to them?
Well, hey people, thanks for listening to this. I'm really glad to be here, and I would love for you to check out my music, and I hope you like what I do. And maybe see you out there somewhere in the world.
Yasi, thanks for taking the time out of your busy NAMM schedule to sit with me. This was truly an honor, and thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor for me too.
Continued success to you and everything you have going on musically. Going forward, you've heard it here, MattyRocks listeners, on the road with MattyRocks and Yasi Hofer at NAMM 2015. Thanks again, Yasi.
Thank you.
MattyRocks, out.